Welcome back to Tell Vanessa. I'm your host, Vanessa Cruickshank. So what have we got in store for you? Well, each and every week we cover an interesting topical debate, highlight a community issue or business, and then you tell me your dilemmas. Then we finish with some good musical talent. So for the next 30 minutes, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Tell Vanessa. On the whole, we're told that our young people's lives are improving. We have the lowest levels of drug taking, smoking, and teenage pregnancies for nearly half a century. Yet statistics and growing evidence shows that we could be in the middle of a mental health epidemic. And this is because rates of depression and anxiety among young people have increased by nearly 70% over the last 25 years. The number of young people turning up at A&E with a psychiatric condition has almost doubled since 2009. A recent survey stated that in the UK, we had the most anxious youngsters in the whole of Western Europe. So on tonight's show, we discuss what is making our young people so anxious. And here to discuss with me is IIan and Hayley. Good evening. So IIan, you're a clinical psychologist. Why are young people so anxious today?
I think there's a massive amount of pressure on young people today. Throughout school, they're made to do exams, they're doing, thinking about career options. There's a lot of pressure on them to succeed and to do it right now and here and now.
But do you think that's any different from when we were younger? Because I know, for example, there was a lot of pressure on me to succeed.
I think there's always been pressure on younger people to succeed, but I think particularly now, there's more and more exams than ever, there's more and more measurement of how young people are doing. We're talking about universities, colleges from a young age. There's just a lot of pressure, we're comparing ourselves to the children in other countries and young people in other countries, so there's just a massive amount of pressure on them to succeed.
I heard some statistics that student suicides have actually gone up tremendously. Is that actually true?
In the last couple of years, there's been a spike in the amount of suicides that have happened, but I think overall suicides are going down. I think what the real issue here is that mental health difficulties are on the increase and they're massively increasing, and this is what we really need to tackle and help people with.
Well, Hayley, I consider you an expert because you've actually walked this journey. You've actually had anxiety or issues yourself and you wrote a book about it. But tell me a little bit about your journey.
So it was in university where it was first started, and this was this time last year, so March 2016.
Which is not that long ago.
Not too long ago at all. And I realised that I wasn't able to cope with everyday activities. I started to feel very anxious. I started to feel less confident, demotivated, to the extent that going to lectures was a chore, eating was a chore, personal hygiene, it was a chore, and I just didn't care about anything or anyone. When my mum used to call me, I used to send her calls straight to voicemail because I didn't want my mum to be hearing the broken Hayley. When my brother would call, I wouldn't pick up, and that's when I realised that this is really a problem.
So do you think that this was something just to do with university, that it kind of almost enhanced your condition?
No, what I would say is that university just catalyzed the experience. I feel like I was just going through an overwhelming time in my life that, there was so much going on with business and friends, and then just all of that mixed together was so toxic. But university did definitely catalyst it, because university, I faced sexism, I faced racism, and being in a toxic environment, awkward freshers week, I was quite distant with my flatmates as well, because it was the type of thing we just came from complete different backgrounds, and I was the only black girl in my whole halls. So the experiences were completely different. I just felt that I couldn't resonate with all of my flatmates, which kind of made me the black sheep.
So was there anyone at university that you could actually go and talk to?
I had friends, but they didn't live on my halls. So it was a matter of when I was going through it, they didn't even know. They didn't know until I was actually back in London. So it was so crazy.
But I mean, like, IIan's a professional. Was there any professionals that you could have actually spoken to at university to say, look, I'm going through something?
Yeah. University offered me a lot of help when it comes to that. But then when I was going through it, I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't first accept I was going through the symptoms. So reaching out to someone for help was so hard.
But I think for someone like me that doesn't really understand about anxiety, explain to me that how did you actually realise, okay, I know I've got a problem, something's not quite right?
as I said, I'm a motivational speaker, so I became very demotivated when it came to everyday tasks. Going to university was just a task to me. Eating was a chore. Personal hygiene was a chore. I didn't want to do anything. Picking up my phone to write a pen, to write literally just a sentence of work, it was disgusting. It was something that I just couldn't do. So that's when I realised that it was really, really a problem, because everyday tasks just became completely impossible to me.
So IIan, you heard some of her symptoms here. Is this different from anyone else? Do the other people go through the same things?
Yeah, I mean, the official statistic is that 1 in 4 have a mental health condition, but actually 4 in 4 people have mental health, and everyone goes through mental health difficulties. So these are difficulties that we all experience at some time in our life. Maybe not exactly the same as this, but similar in a different way. It could be sleeping, it could be eating difficulties, or just not having interest in doing what you used to be able to do, or used to enjoy doing.
So then what would you say to, I don't know, maybe a parent that's got a child that they think's very anxious at the moment?
Absolutely. I think that the first thing for them to do is to, if they can, is to try and talk to their child and just make it an okay thing to talk about. See how they're doing. Is there anything they're struggling with? Or try and, support them to access someone that they trust or someone that they feel they can speak to if you don't feel like they can speak to you as a parent. I suppose it's all about the young person accessing services or accessing help that is going to help them get back to themselves.
So what about coping strategies? Are there any that you could actually suggest?
There are plenty of coping strategies out there. The easiest thing to do is just to go on Google and type in self-help strategies for whatever difficulty you're experiencing. There's a lot of resources out there. If that's not for you, there's always someone that you can speak to, whether it's a counsellor at school, there's someone at university. University have excellent services, or just going to your GP and saying, look, I'm not feeling like myself, there's something wrong, this is what I'm going through, and they can signpost you to a service that can help you.
So Hayley, did you finish university?
No, I ended up leaving this time last year. So around March time, that was when my family came and got me and took me out of halls. And I was the first person to move out of my halls compared to all my flatmates, because I wasn't able to cope with that toxic environment. And my family wanted to keep a close eye on me as well. So they felt it was best for me to move back home.
So then what did your parents do? How did they cope when you actually told them, I've got some issues at the moment around anxiety?
So with my mum it was hard to tell her because my mum wasn't actually in the country. So kind of explaining it to my mum with bad signal. My mum was in Africa, so it was really hard to explain it to her. So it was more my brother that I had to explain it to. My brother was very, very supportive. Both of them were. But my brother was, because he was in the house at the time, he was very supportive. He read up on it, watched a lot of TED Talks, just to ensure that he was doing it the right way. Because sometimes if you just come from your own knowledge, you may be doing something completely wrong. So he went and got facts before he came with opinions.
So you heard IIan say about some coping strategies. Were there any professionals that you actually went to speak to?
At the time, no. Later on, yes. But I would definitely say the best strategies that I actually encountered were with my family, because, you go to counselling, then you leave. But with your family, you're there every single day. So kind of creating that counselling atmosphere in your household is very, very important.
But I guess not everybody has access to a really good family like you, and some people will need to go to a professional or a counsellor for help.
Yeah.
But I have to say you're pretty amazing, because this was last year and you wrote an inspirational book, a self-help book, and you're an inspirational speaker. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll definitely say that when I was going through my dark place, that was the time where I learnt my most valuable lessons. And I definitely feel that my lessons are something that I want to share with the world. And that was really, really hard for me to get out of that place to share those lessons, because the battle that I was going through in my head was, am I even worthy of sharing these experiences? And even when I was going through my mental health breakdown, it was, why are you even going through this? You're okay, like your life is okay. You've got your mum, you've got your brother, you've got all these friends, you've got all these people that listen to you. Why are you going through this? So I've realised that, it's best that I share this experience, because 1 in 4 university students are going through mental health. And that's only recorded, meaning that there's way more university students that are going through this. So I definitely had to create a book which is called The ABCs to Student Success, which teaches you through the concept of the alphabet to cope with different life lessons that are thrown at you every day. And the reason why I say student success is because we're all students of something called life, and life is very overwhelming if you don't know how to cope with it.
Definitely. So what would you actually say, IIan, now for anybody at home who might be watching this, that they don't know where to go for help or what to do?
If you're not sure where to go, what to do, I think the first thing is to say it out loud, to actually say, to speak to someone you trust, find someone you can speak to about it, and actually just to have that conversation, to start saying the words and saying what you're going through. The next step, if you want to, you can get your parent to maybe to speak to them, to take you to a GP, or speak to a friend. or just go and speak to someone about it. There's plenty of people that are available that you can speak to. So it's all about accessing the services and teams that are available to help and getting that help.
Is there anything that you want to add, Hayley?
I would definitely say to any young person out there that's going through it, acceptance is key. You need to be able to accept it, and it's okay. It's okay for you to go through it. It's okay for you to experience it. It's just that everyone's there. Like, there's so many people that will be there to support you, and I think it's just really important that we show young people that we're there to support. And yeah.
Well, thank you both for coming in this evening and educating me as well. Thank you. We have an increasing number of anxious young people in this country, and what we need to remember is anxiety doesn't go away on its own. We depend on our young people to be the next leaders of tomorrow, so it's high time that we stop shying away from mental health issues and ensure that support starts from primary school right through to work. Because if we don't get this right, an anxious young person left unsupported will become an anxious adult.
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
It's deliberate sponsors tell Vanessa. It's deliberate sponsors tell Vanessa.
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
Now we have the dynamic duo who've recently launched Shear Shine. I've got Lina, Gadi and Wallace here with us in the studio. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Tell me a little bit about how you started Shear Shine.
So Shear Shine grooming came about. There was a number of ways how we kind of ended up where we are right now. I mean, we initially had I had the Shear Shine barbershop in Croydon, and I found that a lot of the clients' hair which I was cutting, a lot of black men suffered from the same issues. So things like dry skin, dandruff, split ends. And I really wanted to address those issues. So when customers was coming to me, I wanted to be able to refer them to something that I really could stand behind and trusted. Then I found that when I was shopping for products for my own hair, and I'm looking down the aisle, I'm not really seeing anything that had my face on it, there was no products that was specifically made for my hair type and my hair texture. So based on those reasons, I knew that there was kind of a need for Shear Shine. I also felt that in the media as a whole, black men are not always shown in the most positive light. And I wanted to kind of address that through the brand as well. So with Shear Shine, I want to not only solve a problem that black men are facing, whatever issues it is with their grooming, their hair and stuff, but I also want black men to feel empowered and feel their best and look their best when they go out. So, you know, that's just my little bit that we're doing as well. And that's kind of how we ended up here.
Okay, but you both come from such different backgrounds and you've managed to make this work really well together. Tell me how you started.
Well, IIan and I were first running a different company called Start Young Global,
Okay.
which was a resource hub for young entrepreneurs. And through that, we learned that we both have a very specific vision that's very similar to each other. And we're both very passionate about making that vision come alive. And so that's fostered a lot of trust as well, which means that, you know, I trust that he does what's best for the brand and he trusts that I do what's best for the brand. And because of that, we're able to, you know, work within our own skill sets, which happens to also complement each other. Where he lacks, I might be the strongest, and where I lack, he might be the strongest. So it's that kind of partnership that's been building over a couple of years.
So what next for the brand?
Well, for the brand right now, we're focused on the UK primarily. We really want to be the go-to brand, the first name that you think of, or that for black men to think of when they think of anything to do with grooming. So that's our main focus right now, is really establishing our footprint in the UK. After that, we'll begin to branch out to other countries where there's, you know, a large black demographics. And on top of that, it would just be adding new products to the line. We're speaking with our customers, finding out what they like, what they don't like, what there's other needs for that we might not have thought of. And adding new products to the line. At the moment, we're looking at ingrown hairs formulas. So that's something that a lot of black men suffer with is the ingrown hairs because of our skin type and because of the texture of our hair, the curly nature of our hair. We're really prone to ingrown hairs. So that's something that we're addressing at the moment as well, we're developing.
So how do you actually develop your products?
We work with a manufacturer in the UK and we kind of go back and forth with them on different formulations and different ingredients to find what we like, and then we test it in the barbershop and we find out what the customers like, and then we kind of, it's an ongoing testing
Sounds
process.
good. So where can people actually buy your products though?
So all our products are available directly on our website, www.shearandshinegrooming.co.uk. And on our website, if you want to physically buy our products, there's also a tab that says Stockist, and then you'll be able to see a list of UK and French stockists actually that sell our products as well.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming to the studio this evening.
Thanks for having us.
This is the part of the show where you tell me your dilemmas, I tell you what I think, and then we take it to the streets. Our dilemma this evening is from a man called Matthew. I'm 28 and I've been living with my girlfriend who's 37 for the last 5 years. My problem is I just don't fancy her anymore. She acts more like my mum than my girlfriend, and we haven't been intimate for the last 6 months. She keeps trying to do little things to get me interested, like dinners, sexy underwear, and weekends away, but it's just not working. My issue is it's her house, and I've got nowhere to go as I'm unemployed at the moment. She has now booked us into a fertility clinic, and I don't know what to do. How do I get out of the appointment?
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
With everything you've just said, the only advice you want me to give you is how to get out of the appointment? Listen, stop wasting this girl's time. If you don't want her to treat you like a child, then stop acting like one. Man up and tell her you're not interested, and then get out of her house. You need to sort yourself out, Matthew, and stop freeloading. But like I say each week, this is just my advice. Let's hear what they say on the streets.
If he's not interested in her, then what the hell is he doing there?
Well, my boy, and you are a boy, you've not gone into the adult world.
I think you're being really unfair because obviously you're just using her.
He should be man enough to stand on his 2 feet.
You've got to grow up, you've got to say, let this woman find a person who fulfills her needs, and you go on your way.
At the end of the day, he should look for a job.
But why don't you go and sleep on a friend's sofa or go to a hostel?
Let this woman find somebody who deserves her.
Get some isn't you? Sorry.
If he's in love with her, stay with her. If he's not in love with her, move on.
Matthew, I hope you take our advice, because as I say each week, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you've got a dilemma, email us here at dilemma@tellvanessa.com. So we've come to the end of another great show. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we have. I'd like to thank all our guests and thank you for sending in your dilemmas. Now we're going to leave you with a talented musician. Her name is Miss Megoo.